very good evening to you and welcome to the first leg of the UEFA Cup final between Casino Salzburg and Inter Milan. No Austrian side has ever won this trophy before. And indeed, Casino Salzburg go in very much against the favourites now for the tournament, Inter Milan, who won it, of course, a couple of years ago. These are the teams they knocked out in the process of getting to this very first leg. It's a game that ought to have been played in Milan first, but of course, great rivals. And quite obviously, they're not playing in the home of Mozart either in Salzburg, but playing in the stadium, as I said, renamed in Austria, in Vienna, because they'll get a very much bigger crowd. Something in the region of 45,000 in the stadium, which used to be called, of course, the very famous Prater Stadium in the park, which was made famous by very many things, not the least, of course, Harry Lime coming across there and speaking his mind about the world. And here is an Austrian crowd, hopefully to be in a position tonight to see an Austrian team, at least to the halfway stage, taking a commanding lead. And so important in this game not to lose a goal away from home. Inter Milan may be very greatly experienced in Europe, but of course they're having their trials and tribulations in Italian football. There is just an outside chance that they could be relegated. They've been in that relegation zone, 10th place, and only 3 points separating 7 teams in Serie A. But I think it really needs Milan to lose to Reggiana and Inter to Atlanta for them to be possibly going down. That's the trophy they're after, and there is a team: Otto Konrad, Leo Leiner, Herbert Weber playing in his 567th game, Thomas Winkelhofen of age 23, Christian Furstaller, age 29, boss of 600 people in office, Franz Eigner, Martin Ammerhausen, the only man who doesn't have a yellow card going into this game, Peter Ardner, 27, Marco Marquinhos, the Brazilian, Heinz Pfeifenberger, who will be the top goal scorer, and Hermann Stadler. Otto Baric, take a good long look at him, because you won't see him on the bench. He's been relegated to the stand because he has been suspended for 5 games after having spat at a Frankfurt player in a previous round. The referee is Mr. Nielsen from Denmark. The Inter Milan team, led out by the very experienced Walter Zenga. There he is at the top, 58 caps, and probably to be replaced by Piluka. Antonio Paganini's brother doesn't play tonight. Angelo Orlando Wim Jonk has already scored 5 goals in the tournament. Giuseppe Bergomi, 77 caps. Sergio Battistini came from Fiorentina. Alessandro Bianchi, Antonio Maniconi, ex-Udinese. Nicolo Berti, who scored a marvellous goal, aided by Dennis Bergkamp in the previous round, and Ruben Sosa back in the side again. That was a coach, Marini. And here we have 2 teams very much on edge at the start of this game.
Resultats que estava aconseguint l'Inter en la lluita per l'Scudetto, un Inter que havia començat, que sortia com a favorit a la Lliga italiana, però que en aquests moments es troba ensorrat en la 10ª posició amb 33 punts, mentre que l'Inter...
And friends, because there are very important suspensions tonight for Salzburg. Feisinger, Hutter and Jusevic unable to play because of the yellow carding, and for Inter, Fontalan and Shalimov, who together have scored 3 goals in this tournament. And so Inter, struggling domestically, have performed their best football in this competition, and especially coming from 2 men have scored 13 goals between them. The Dutchman, number 4, Wim Jonk, and of course number 10, Dennis Bergkamp. A very volatile and enthusiastic crowd in the stadium tonight, renamed after the famous Austrian coach Ernst Happel, who very sadly, after a long struggle against cancer, died well known in Holland, of course, coached the Dutch team to the final of the World Cup in 1978, and a very fitting tribute to this stadium is now named after him. Maniconi pushing it forward. Both teams play the same kind of system. Just in front of Conrad, you'll find the team in the white, of course, Salzburg, Fust on the right, Weber in the middle, and Leiner on the left. And they pack the midfield with 5 players normally. Winkelhofer on the right, Stadler on the left, and between them, Eigner, Martino in the middle, and then Artner, and up front, Ammerhauser and Pfeffenberger. So really 3-5-2 formation roughly. Hooked away there by Weber. More of him later in this game when we get a close-up of him. Bergkamp. Notice the way he drags that ball along with the right foot there, and it just tries that quick acceleration to the left. Wonderful balance the man has. What a marvellous game Bergkamp had in the previous round against Cagliari. In the second game in particular, scoring a marvellous goal himself and a set-up for Nicola Berti. So I think Salzburg have been particularly warned that he's right on form, and so also is Jonk. Jonk having scored in that game as well. And how important for Inter Milan to get these elements in the team playing well. Jonk in midfield, Bergkamp. I know Inter have been struggling, and the Ernesto Pellegrini has been murmuring about Bergkamp in particular. However, it looks as if they'll stick with Bergkamp, insist on him staying, fulfilling his contract. And I think his performance in Europe is going to be extremely important. That is Berti down there. Well, Berti going through the wars again and was off for 6 months with a serious knee injury. And he certainly linked up very well with Bergkamp, the second leg of the semi-final against Cagliari. Back there having a close look at him, the Salzburg player Leo Leiner came from Salzburg to Rapid Vienna and then back to Salzburg again. 33 years of age, one of the very experienced players on the side. It is always a dubious exercise in European football when you relinquish home advantage and go into a neutral stadium for commercial reasons. So they've taken a very big risk, Salzburg. I don't much fancy it myself. Normally it doesn't pay off for clubs. We shall see though. Trying to push forward there, Angelo Orlando in his 3rd season for Inter. And I think you can get an indication right away with some of the boots swinging in the midfield that this is not for shrinking violets, this game. And this is where the war is going to be won initially, getting in the tackles there. Well, the crowd liked it, but neatly taken away. Inter not giving an inch. Pfeffenberger trying to go through, puts it to Marquinhos. Now picked up there by Maniconi. Free kick. And not surprisingly, a very large Italian contingent in the Ernst Happel Stadium. That brought about that free kick, very quickly taken. We're playing spot the ball at the moment, I think. No prizes for this one. Oh, a neat shuffle there by Orlando. Made good ground. Hooked away there by Leiner. Well, already Antonio Maniconi has been in the wars. I think he worked very well to get that. Always the possibility of getting a free kick off a referee when you go forward like that, just outside the penalty area. Well, he put the shoulder in as well. Just getting the advantage from the referee. Now then, we'll step forward to this. There's Ruben Sosa looking at it closely. Back goes the defensive wall, curled round and well over. And that ploy not coming off. The defensive wall broke all right, and Sosa did get his shot in, but notice how he was falling back. He simply didn't get the right kind of balance for that. Well, this crowd certainly partisan and making the right kind of noise. They're in semi-neutral territory, of course, in Vienna. Loud draw there as Hermann Stadler went down. Oh, good, steady, measured play by Jonk. Just kept his balance, almost getting it through to Sosa. Picked up by Jonk again. And that's the really aggressive kind of play that Inter need in this match. The Dutchman determined to do better. Well, twice he drove forward. He lost the ball initially and then picked it up again as he drove into the penalty area. A really good competitive game, this. It's already given indications it might get very physical. And so what, says I, as long as it's kept within reasonable bounds. Oh, never any danger there to the defence. Well, that does show you. Antonio Manaconi getting back there. The ex-Udinese player's already scored one goal in the tournament, and way back almost as a central defender. Bergkamp. And now they're beginning to close down in the Inter players very quickly indeed. This will be taken by Herbert Weber. What an astonishing, I beg your pardon, by Orlando. Weber was coming in there on him. Nice little play there. Manaconi. Picked up very deep by Marquinhos. Marquinhos playing right in the middle of midfield. Trying to get it inside the defence. Well enough back to Zenga. Now watch Bergkamp coming forward there. He's going to be watched very closely. The man I'm talking about, Herbert Weber, playing, as I said earlier, in his 567th game tonight. Wonderful run on the outside. Stadler breaking in and touched over by Ammerhausen. Lovely little burst there, making the play a little bit wider than it's been. And then came the teenager, 19 years of age. Martin Ammerhausen coming right in on that. Well, you might almost say that's typical Inter play, the kind of play we've been getting in the breakaway by Inter throughout this tournament. The quick run by the likes of Sosa and Bergkamp following up inside. A replica of it performed by Casino Salzburg, but still no scoring. Well, the linesman on the far side, not the most popular man amongst the Italians. Got his flag up right away. Sosa must have been very deep indeed, and that Stadler very quickly tackled picked up there by Liner. Oh, wonderful busting run there by Aigner. Now then, there's a yellow card. Now, I think it is very important to understand the yellow carding system, which is so plaguing football. I think that's the word I would use about it now. I think it is overdone in terms of the disqualification it brings about, because every single Casino Salzburg player goes into this game with a yellow card, except number 7 Martin Ammerhauser. And Bianchi gets a yellow card. There's a certain amount of danger attached to some of the Inter players as well. Come to that in a moment as it's driven in. Played neatly to the outside, picked up by Marquinhos going away wide. But not enough white jerseys in the box. As I was saying, Casino Salzburg badly affected by yellow carding. They simply cannot afford anybody to be yellow carded tonight, with the exception of Martin Ammerhausen, the 19-year-old lad you saw of that wonderful effort about a couple of minutes ago. Trying to lay it off there, and does, to Winkelhofer. Oh, that was missed very badly that time. And Ammerhauser again, making good ground into the penalty area, and annoyed with himself that somehow or other that ball evaded him. Well, twice now in the past 5 minutes, they've unzipped this Italian defense by getting balls played wide and quickly into the box. And twice young Martin Ammerhauser just off it. Well, by the law of averages, he's going to get on the end of one of these. Picked up again deep by Marquinhos. Don't be deceived by that number. He's playing really central midfield. Sosa, a little bit short with that. Now they really get forward at pace. Nice little chip there and turned away brilliantly. Once again, queuing up in the middle. Ammerhausen at the head of the queue and just touched away for a corner kick. Wonderful play again by Casino Salzburg. They've got wide sweeping movements like that. Well, you know, when you map out a game in terms of coaching, it does seem ridiculously simple that you get the ball wide and you play it quickly into the box. That's a plan. It's in the execution of it that matters. Now Bergkamp. Well, neatly played down there by Berti towards Sosa, and the referee has stopped the game. Free kick. And the difference we've noted already between Inter and Salzburg is that Inter have been a little bit more predictable and ponderous in the movements forward. Salzburg far more incisive, quicker on the break. But a long, long way to go in this game. Neatly played back by the Brazilian. 15 minutes gone, still no scoring. And just beyond the head of Pfeifenberger. Internationalist. An interesting player this, because not only has he scored a couple of goals acting as a striker, as you saw from that caption, but he's also a very talented and accomplished and very steady defender as well. Whoops. Well, going in there, number 2, Leo Leiner. And the referee, the Danish referee, I think will have to curb the enthusiasm of some of these Austrian players. Just getting carried away with the spirit of the crowd in the background there. Mark you, they'll have to be very careful indeed. I think that's also an indication they might just get a little bit reckless. And you must not do this against an Italian side. One thing you need is restraint and discipline. Free kick. Well, I think we've seen a great deal of mobility about this Casino Salzburg side already. Attacking through Peter Artner, Pfeifenberger, getting the ball wide, and Ammerhausen coming in on the end of it. Well, he looked towards the referee Stadler there, but he gives him back in retort a look of indifference. Free kick, and nothing really much seen of this Inter-attack. But at this stage that means precisely nothing. It is always lurking there. We've already seen a lot of hard work done by Antonio Maniconi in midfield, right up and down the center of the field, back in defense, up in attack. And the early surging runs of Vignon. There, by the way, is a coach, Otto Baric, sitting in the stand in some disgrace for having spat at a German player. Rather volcanic man. He is one of the 5 men, the manager and 4 other players, who played in the Cup Winners' Cup final against Everton in Rotterdam in 1985. Now the Italians beginning to put the passes together, except that last one there towards Bergkamp. Well, there's a very grittily determined look about the Salzburg side tonight. They're full of running. But for their sakes, I hope it doesn't turn out to be naive. And they leave a lot of doors open at the back like that. Ruben Sosa going after it, flicked away by Leiner. Back in again by Orlando. And I think Inter have settled again. Pushed across by Bergomi. Now there's an experienced player for you at this stage. Giuseppe Bergomi, you saw a little glimpse of him there, number 5, just pushing it away, right in the middle of defense. Bergomi and Battistini almost swapping with one another as the real central defender. Or sweeper, as the case may be. Bergkamp, and one of these runs of his, beautifully tackled as Winkelhofer brought it away. Sosa. Far too obvious. Winkelhofer. Hooked away by Paganin, Antonio Paganin. Massimo not playing tonight, his brother. Passed forward there by the Brazilian. Good ball control he has. Surging run there by Franz Eigner. I think they might get another free kick out of this. We've already seen Eigner do this. Penetrating runs down the left. Eigner, who comes from Weichershafen, the famous ski jump area, and maybe he applied a little of that technique for landing there. Walter Zenga anxious to get on with it. As I say, the word has it that Pagliuca might replace him. There might be a straight swap between Inter and Sampdoria. Well, there we are, just over 20 minutes gone, still no scoring. We've had a lot of bolts of lightning and thunder by Casino Salzburg without actually creating any damage. I think you might say the play has been more Wagnerian than Mozartian, but it's been hammering against this black and blue defensive wall. Only a couple of chances falling to Ammerhauser, who might just have put them away with a little more composure. Oh, not a very clever kick out there by Zenga. In his 35th year, still looking very agile. Well, you can see that Inter are beginning to exert their muscle in midfield. I think realizing the danger of these surging runs coming from midfield by the various players I mentioned there, and that is a corner kick. Different kind of tactic there by Casino Salzburg, who preferred getting the two wide men, getting down near the goal line and cutting the ball back, sending it in the general direction of Winkelhofer, who had come forward. Yeah, just too much of that. Yes, I was mentioning the players who had played against Everton in 1985 in the Cup Winners' final, beaten in that final. The goalkeeper, Otto Konrad, number 2 Liner, number 3 Weber, number 8 Artner, and the coach, whose tiny inset you saw about a couple of minutes ago, Otto Baric. He played in that game as well. So they do have experience there, there's no doubt about that. Inter Milan have made it perfectly clear what they want out of this game. They're inviting Casino Salzburg to come towards them. And the ball is being hit back beyond Salzburg's midfield to the on-running Sosa or Berti or Bergkamp. They've laid the stall out, and it remains to be seen whether that eventually is going to be successful. Bergkamp. Back with him goes Forstaller. Bergkamp laid it off neatly to Sosa. Beautiful little ball inside, and forward came Nicole Berti. There's Sosa with it. Now the Austrian players are looking across to that linesman, who's been very quick on the trigger up till now. They were disappointed there. That was a chance. Notice Berti coming back onside, and then that little gap allowing Ruben Sosa to come up, and I think just too calculated, too deliberate in the way he wanted to finish that. This is what they've got to watch, letting that man Bergkamp bring the ball down under control there. Cagliari, with all their knowledge of Bergkamp, allowed him to do that in the semi-final, and he ripped them apart with the most glorious runs. Well, at least Casino Salzburg know precisely the kind of pattern that Inter have set out. They know what they have to stem at source. So I said a lot of hard work by the man number 8 there, Antonio Maraconi. Swept forward by Battistini. Maraconi Lying deep. Back inside from Paganin. Almost got a lucky little break. Touched there by number 3, Herbert Weber. 38 years of age, would you believe? A shining example to everybody in middle age, or getting towards middle age, whatever that relative phrase may mean. Certainly in footballing terms, he's a veteran. Let's put it that way. Still going strong. Now, Winkelhofer. And very good jump in the air there by Stadler coming in. Now, what they want, of course, is to get as many balls into the penalty area, make the defenders turn. Stadler putting it across, and Pfeifenberger just getting too much of a glance on that. Well, there's been a lot of traffic across Walter Zenga's area there, but without bringing any anxiety to the goalkeeper. He hasn't had to bring out any spectacular saves or anything like that. Salzburg, in summary at the moment, are more threat than penetration. Halfway through this first half, and they are just becoming a little more predictable. Given away by Sosa. Bergkamp, number 10 there, will just be content to hover round about that area, pick up anything put his way, or anything that breaks his way. Oh, beautiful at back. That was an unexpected move. Nice little touch there. Pfeifenberger just getting it back. Now picked up by Marquinhos. Wanted to go on his own. Little reverse pass, hooked over. Pfeifenberger again. Now he's applauding that move. All the hard work done by Marco Marquinhos. And for the first time in the game, I really do think Zenga looked apprehensive, because in came the shot. Good final tackle. Bergami and Battistini closing down very quickly. And Salzburg get the corner kick. Zenga with that deeply concentrated look on his face. Away by Battistini. Now the counter-attack. This is where they've got to be effective. Sosa. Free kick, and that eases the pressure on Inter Milan. I doubt very much if anybody considers that Inter would drop out of Serie A. It's never happened in the club's history before. Pfeifenberger. Long deep run, easily taken away again. Manaconi drifts in. Kind of sameness in the play of Wim Jonk and Antonio Manaconi. That same one-pace style, but both hard workers. And no breaks for number 7, Martin Ammerhauser. Ammerhauser scored a couple of goals. Scored the very first goal of the tournament when they were playing against Donashka Streda. But very significantly about Casino Salzburg, they have yet to concede a goal in this tournament at home. Well, literally speaking, they are not at home tonight, but certainly in Austria. Well, I think Dennis Bergkamp appealing that Ruben Sosa had been pushed. Sosa didn't play in that second semi-final. Only scored his first goal of the season against Cagliari in the first leg, which is very surprising indeed, given he scored 15 goals in Serie A. His form seems to be the reverse of the general form of Inter, who are playing better in Europe than in Serie A. Well, Stadler winning in the air, but to no great effect. Zenga calming everybody down, and I just get the impression Inter are beginning to warm to their task.
Hem vist Winkofer, un jugador molt ofensiu, tot i que es tracta d'un defensa.
Much steadier, more composed looking into Milan now, though. They've had several scares, but not much more than that, and Bergkamp always capable of doing this sort of thing. I thought he first, well, complaining to the referee, he thought he'd had a corner kick out of that. Well, Bergkamp's my kind of player, a lot of grace and elegance in his play, and beginning to toughen up. One or two people, of course, including the chairman Ernesto Pellegrini, a little bit critical of him not getting into the heart of Italian football and scoring the goals that may have been expected of him, except that I saw a sign of Marco van Basten about one of his openings in the Cagliari semi-final, the way he powered his way through a defence and laid the ball off on Nicola Berti to score. There he is, having to pull away from Peter Artner. Artner considered a very valuable man for Casino Salzburg on a contract for another couple of years, as Wim Jonk squares it. Played forward by Battistini. Well, that's not very pretty play by Inter Milan, but you can see the effect of it. It's breaking up the rhythm of Casino. Casino Salzburg have been flowing very smoothly, and if Inter can gain possession like this, knock it about in midfield, then the initiative gradually is taken away from the Austrians. Well, I think again he thought he'd won a corner kick. Wiseman pointing very smartly to a goal kick, and I think Inter have weathered that storm. Every now and again got the impression that the Austrians might just break through, but they haven't. Still no scoring. Picked up there by Bianchi, walking up and down that right side. Berti just coming in behind Ruben Sosa and Bergkamp taken out of it. Free kick, I think. Ruben Sosa very quickly into the penalty box. Berti with a shot. Oh, he scores! Would you believe it? A goal forged out of virtually nothing. Talk about turning lead into gold. You've just seen it. Well, no wonder they're delirious. If you look back on this goal again, it came from a totally inconsequential incident away in the far side, a free kick, no danger whatsoever, brilliantly seen by Ruben Sosa, and Berti doing extraordinarily well to finish off there under pressure. Two defenders and the goalkeeper. goalkeeper, and from that narrow angle he puts Inter in the lead. Well, what an admirable lesson for any students of the game. Young folks in the game want to take it up. We've seen all the flowing play and aggression from Casino Salzburg, and then a little simple exercise by Ruben Sosa. Keep alert, keep awake, look for opportunities. That's exactly what he did. Quick free kick into the box. And it did require superb finishing by Berti to get that lead. Well, I did say that Inter were beginning to get to grips with this game. A much more discernible grip in midfield. They weren't making all that much headway, but they did have possession, and as I said, they had broken up the rhythm so much that I think this man Otto Baric was getting worried even before the goal was scored. Taking notes, and I'm sure he's in telephonic communication, or will be. Very good run there by Marquinhos. Plays it to Stadler. Just trying a turn too many. Pitting for the corner kick, and he gets it. Well, you can't fault Casino Salzburg for lack of effort. They have been very aggressive from the start. And I suppose, in judging the game, they've been a little unlucky that some of these cross balls didn't land as near Amahauser as he would have liked. Suffering there is Alessandro Bianchi. He's been yellow carded, of course, in this game. Might be suffering a little cramp as well. Yes, I think he was overstretching himself. But Inter are now 1-0 in the lead. And it may be too early for them to close up shop entirely, but again the temptation will be there for the Italians to sit back a little and let Casino do all the running. Casino Salzburg do all the running. Sosa trying to get that diagonal run by Bergkamp. Quick tackle there on Amahauser. Oh, I think Dennis Bergkamp will be quietly satisfied that they picked up that goal when they did. Nodded forward there by Winkelhofer. Referee telling them to take it exactly there. Well, I think you can hear the Italians in the background. Inter, of course, won this cup a couple of years ago. Now Sosa. Plays it square. Bergkamp trying to find his compatriot, Jonk. Bergkamp didn't get hold of it, though. Quite annoyed with himself. Defenders beginning to bear down on him, so not surprising he didn't hit it sweetly enough. Just played back to him there. Watch, he hits it into the ground. Well, there were talks of perhaps Bergkamp moving on to Barcelona. I know his compatriot again as Sosa chases that. Watch the two defenders going back with him, including Weber. Just stabs it away. Hooked in again by Bianchi. Now back to Maniconi. And an echoing roar from the terraces there. And that's the cleanest shot, apart from the goal, that we've had from Inter in the last 15-20 minutes. Wonderful stadium this now, the old Prater Stadium, now renamed the Ernst Happel. And the man with the spats, Ruben Sosa. Bad ball that time, easily mopped up there by Weber. Now played out to Orlando. Quick little burst through, well read though. Jonk. On to Pagani. Orlando. And you can see for yourselves, the game is now centered in midfield, sparring with each other to get real control of this game again. Battistini. Sideways to Giuseppe Bergomi. Bergomi, of course, played in the World Champions team in '82. 31 years of age, and on an occasion like this, all that experience immensely valuable to the side. The sting has been taken out of Salzburg, no doubt about that. Ruben Sosa working hard, trying to find Bergkamp, gliding away. Well, that's a typical Bergkamp run. You could see how the defender never quite knew whether Bergkamp was going to suddenly halt, change direction, or carry on. He has that ability to deceive as he runs forward, and he wins a corner out of it. Taken by Sosa. Right beyond as Maniconi came in. Danger yet, and I think the whistle's gone. Certainly got players into the box very quickly. Now Battistini came up. Battistini, who scored a very important goal very early on in the tournament when they were playing Rapid of Bucharest. So he was up there, but the real movement forward came from Maniconi, just behind him. Weber is with it, Herbert Weber. 11 years with Rapid Vienna, of course, and played in that final against Everton. He was the oldest player in the last World Cup. No, they will not be allowed to play the ball around like that. Ruben Sosa just got away with it, and I think the Italians expected Angelo Orlando to follow up on the overlap. Didn't come. Well, disappointment there for Franz Eigner. A lot of the fluency has gone out of the Casino Salzburg side now. Plain for all to see just before half-time. Maniconi. What great running he's done. I think he's been certainly busier than Jonk. Orlando. Oh, way too high. Weber caught out there. The veteran's legs not operating. Ruben Sosa. Oh, it could have been two. Wonderful burst there. And so surprising, as I've said, he's only scored one goal in the entire tournament. As the halftime whistle goes, that could have been so easily his second. Indeed, he deserved it. And look at all that hard work you've seen him doing in the last 10-15 minutes. Wonderful piece of opportunism to lay on the ball from the free kick for Bertie to score the only goal of the game. And then that thunderbolt near the end. Look at it, almost taking the woodwork away. And the internationalist beginning to show his true form. And all that adds up to an enormous moment in the game and a portent to perhaps worse to come for the Austrians.
De nou amb tots vostès, quan és a punt ja d'iniciar-se aquesta segona part d'aquest partit d'anada de la final de la Copa de la UEFA. El veiem pel canal 33 entre l'Àustria, Salzburg i l'Inter. Recordem que de moment està guanyant l'Inter gràcies a un gol de Berti aconseguit als 35 minuts de la primera part. Un Inter que ha tingut 7 oportunitats de gol, que ha xutat 7 vegades a porteria.
That Inter Milan, and all the time they've been playing in international and European football, have only ever won once in Austria, and that was when they were playing in the Champions Cup final against Real Madrid in '64. All the other times they've lost: in '73 to Admira Wacker, in '83 to Austria Wien, in '85 to Linz, and in '90 to Rapid. So they try to break new ground here tonight in defeating an Austrian side for the first time on Austrian soil. And they're halfway there. That opportunistic goal by Nicola Berti, and I think if he's going to get a bonus tonight, most of the money should go to Ruben Sosa for his quick, witted free kick from way out on the other side there. Teaching everybody a lesson, not least the Austrians, who've done a lot of very good aggressive pressing without actually bothering Walter Zink all that much on reflection. The ball being played across him a great deal. Martin Ammerhauser twice coming close, also Pfeifenberger twice, but never actually getting there. And we've had Ammerhauser, who really did take a knot in the first half, being replaced by number 12 Muzek. It's a pity that, because the youngster is considered very great potential striker in European football. That ball hooked away from Hermann Stadler as he came through. Nice bright start again by Salzburg. Who'll come forward for this? Leo Leiner has come up into the penalty area. And Peter Archie, I think, getting behind that. Well, they've had the disappointments like this before. The cross ball, the only ball that's produced any effect for them at all. Sead played, dragging Zender right across there, and Peter Artner, the man who was born in Vienna, the only one playing in the side tonight, born in this city. Internationalist, of course. Austrian international football in the past 4 years, since the last World Cup in the doldrums. Very poor results indeed. Young, Sosa. Played there to Orlando. And Sosa offside. Bergkamp in the middle of the picture doesn't agree. Well, which player ever does on occasions like that? That's the substitute Muzek. And the one thing he certainly was not told coming on is to give a ball away in midfield like that. I mean, what Inter have shown tonight is they are really very quick in the uptake. In terms of possession, they haven't had as much near the penalty area as the Austrians, and yet he manufactured a goal out of virtually nothing. Very good wriggling little run there by Marquinhos. He showed these attributes in the first half as well. Bergkamp way back in defence, looking for Sosa, who's been left in splendid isolation up front. I did say they would tend to sit back in this 1-0 lead. Well, there was, I think, a yellow card for Bianchi, who's already been yellow carded, and off he goes. Now that's a tragedy, because, okay, 1 and 1 makes 2, I suppose, but was it all that bad? He doesn't think so. For all lip readers in Italian, I think you know exactly the sentiment going through his mind. Now watch this again. Well, a foul, yes, and I suppose a yellow card. Quite frankly, I think the yellow carding is now being overdone in terms of the penalties of missing games. Nobody wants to encourage negative play in football, but I certainly wouldn't like to see any player miss a cup final. After all, if the public is going to be asked to pay huge admission charges, oughtn't they to see the very best that clubs can provide in a final? Bergkamp. Nice little ball, that. Intelligent ball, and getting an appreciative hand there from Berti. Just chipped it low and hard across as Berti come sliding in. And of course, by the remarks about missing a cup final, Alessandro Bianchi now misses the cup final. Or the second leg of it, rather. And let me remind you that 10 of these players, 10 of the Casino Salzburg's players, are nursing a yellow card at the moment. So they're on the brink as well, and that looked to be a rather nasty one. That was Berti coming back to defend. Nicola Berti, who scored a winning goal against Roma in the final. Little bit obvious, that cross. Got away there by Bergumi. Bergkamp lying deep. Well, we saw how well Bergkamp in the second leg of the semi-final against Cagliari could fetch and carry for other players, playing off wonderful passes. Free kick. Oh, referee waves play on, and I thought that was a bit of a dive. The referee agrees. Run forward here by Aigner. Overdoes it though, a little bit unfortunate. I just get the impression Casino Salzburg are now showing the signs of frustration. Now they've got to beware of that. Get frustrated and you tie up, you bunch up. And if you do that, of course, especially if you're playing up front, I think you're going to miss chances. Sousa. Forstaller. Stadler. Building it up slowly and trying to get Aigner away in one of these runs of his. Aigner's been the only regular player this season. Played in all of the games. That's the substitute Muzek. That's the frustration and the bunching up I was talking about. Berti, I think the coach is looking at the inter-technical staff, looking at Berti there. Berti, of course, suffered a serious knee injury, off for 6 months, and when that happens, you often get apprehensive about a player. No, their finishing ball into the penalty area is simply not inventive enough at the moment. Souza, wonderful game he's having. He's the very epitome of industry in this game, beavering away. Bergkamp. A marvellous control of his. Good vision and balance combined. Jonk gives him some support. Well, you could see what Ruben Souza had in mind, just to stay still and roll it forward there for Jonk. Now the break. Now I really do think Casino Salzburg would benefit from allowing Inter to get more players forward and release the congestion midway through Inter's half in defence. So just too many players there at times. Referee, experienced UEFA FIFA referee, going to the World Cup, of course. Bergkamp lying very deep, deeper and deeper, allowing Jonk to come forward. There's Jonk coming back into the middle of the picture. The crowd's trying to remain with the Austrians. Picked up there by Pfeifenberger. Back to Forstaller. Now on to Aigner. Neatly chested down, appeals for a penalty there. Well, referee had no intention of giving it, that's for sure. And Milan are battling hard in that area, just outside the penalty area. And too many missed passes coming, that time from Winkelhofer. Well, Inter tonight are nothing very elegant to look at, but they're not here to provide an aesthetic pattern. They're here to function clinically, get a result, and by that I mean at least scoring a goal away from home, if not beating Casino Salzburg, and they're halfway there. Frankly, I'm not keen on a home and home cup final. I much prefer a one-off with the threat of penalties to come at the end of it. I think you get much more forthright play. But that's the UEFA Cup for you. Mistake there by Muzek, who's playing in midfield, and what they've done is push Stadler up beside Pfeifenberger, with Muzek having come into midfield. There he is. Looked to me as if Manaconi was trying to obstruct him. Building it up carefully again. Played round by Marquinhos to Liner. Liner on the outside. Not enough power in that. And there we are. That's an example of where Casino Salzburg and their confidence is eroding. substitutes. I think they are to signify some sort of musical connection. And I think they have Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in mind. I think we're getting more Puccini now, to be perfectly honest with you, and I do believe that the Italians are certainly more in full song. And to keep the analogy going, I don't think it's exactly grand opera we're watching tonight. And these are far too simple balls, and that was a mistake that brought that about, though. Hooked away eventually by Bergami. Forstaller onto Weber. Weber playing very cautiously at the back. Now, he's not at all a young man at the age of 38 in footballing terms. And so he's got to be very careful he's not beaten for pace by the likes of Sosa or Berti or even Bergkamp. Now that's a better ball. Finds the feet of Stadler. Well, Stadler, I think, as he went for that, must have hurt his ankle. He really was looking for some support inside him. Now Jonk, beautifully ahead to Sosa. But again, Sosa left on his own, and a man who was talking about Herbert Weber, who played in '78, would you believe, in Argentina in the World Cup, still going strong. He may lack a bit of that vital pace, but what he does do is read the game extremely well. And what that leads to is good interventions. And this is where they're being caught by the Inter players now in midfield. Inter are closing them down so very effectively now. Getting ready for another substitution here. It looks to me like Steiner is about to come on. Hesitation there as Bergami and Battistini get confused. Wonderful chance there for Stadler, and it should have been buried. Oh dear, they cannot afford to miss chances like that. Well, the profligacy of that is for all to see. And you just get the impression you do not get second or third chances against an Italian defence. Coming from terribly naive confusion there between the central defenders. Now the angle was very acute, but nevertheless, I think a little chip to the far side, getting a little elevation might have been better. And Steiner taking the place of 23-year-old Thomas Winkelhofer. Given him a little encouragement, though. If anything else, not the miss, but the confusion in the Italian defence. Although I doubt very much if they're going to do anything as stupid as that again. There we are. About 17 minutes gone, still 1-0 to Inter. And out comes Otto Konrad. Otto Konrad, by the way, has had a marvellous season for Casino Salzburg. In 25 matches, he's only conceded 10 goals. That's a very good record indeed for any goalkeeper. Played out there by Pfeifenberger, and now Aigner more and more determined to make advances on the left. Forstaller playing it simply into the box, but you cannot do that if there's only one player there. He has to have somebody running down either channel on either side. Free kick. Orlando brought down. Oh, I do believe that the coaching staff of Inter will be very satisfied with this. Sitting there at the edge of the pitch on the Ernst Happel Stadium, and they're one up. They were under siege earlier on in the game, and Orlando comes away. Wow, that was almost like a 400-meter hurdler going over there. Almost perfect action there by Angelo Orlando. Good burst there. Now Sosa. Well, the substitute Muzek has played a very thoughtful game in midfield. Been playing deep on the left. He finds himself on the right there playing against Sosa, but trying to build it up creatively from deep inside his own half. That's a free kick, and that will be a booking. Jonk gets a yellow card, but that's his first of the tournament, so he's safe for the final, or the second leg of it. Well, the initial challenge there came from Ruben Sosa. But nothing happened there. Now played way across. Jonk comes in, nips it away. Berti. Sosa. Back inside, I think hoping for Bergkamp to come from deep. Now away they go. There's a little bit of space. This is what I meant by trying to get Inter to come forward a little bit more. And they couldn't take advantage of it, and that really is ominous for them. That's the booking I was talking about. Plenty of time for Otto Conrad to come out. While Sosa, number 11 there, has always worried them. He's been running about freely from left to right, upsetting this defense. There he is again. On to Jonk. That deeper ball finding Sosa offside, but note the ploy there. Sosa feeding the ball away back into midfield and then making the early run forward. Bergkamp playing almost in the right back position. And quite clearly the instructions are to play deep in defense. Let the Austrians come at them. Good work there by Pfeifenberger, but nobody inside him to take advantage. And Otto Baric in the stand, showing signs of frustration. I hope he doesn't take it out in any of the spectators in the stand the way he took it out in the German player, which got him banned. Berti lays it off beautifully. Maniconi trying to find Sosa. Berti couldn't get away, and I think he was slipping. There's no need for him to complain about that. Now that's, just about to say that's better penetration and a wonderful interception there by Jonk. Has to be borne in mind that Casino Salzburg not fully professional in the sense that Inter are. Many of these players holding down jobs. towards Pfeifenberger. As I said, he's also a defender when he puts his mind to it. Well, that's a purposeful little run forward. Stadler deserted the left wing in the past 15 minutes. Been going inside more. Pushed forward by Muzek. Oh, and a bad effort there by Stadler. Now that is twice he's been in positions where he could have dented that defence. Twice he's let the side down. A little bit of repair by the referee, who I think has had a fine, upstanding game. Bergkamp. Wonderful how he can keep possession under intense pressure like that. Coming forward, Orlando. Now we've already seen him doing some damage on the left. Look at the way they're keeping possession. That's the most important aspect of it. And oh, that almost gets through to Sosa. And the third time in the past 10 minutes that Sosa has been caught offside. And that time it was much narrower. While the Italians in the crowd more tuneful for the very obvious reasons, and again, Bergkamp lying extremely deep. I think trying to stop the gap that's been opening up occasionally with a burst by Archie and Aigner on the left. Into backtracking. On it goes to Stadler. As I said, he's been drifting away from the left wing. Stadler back again. That's a decent enough ball, and Zenga probably glad of a little exercise. 58 caps for his country, and still with a pair of assured hands. Sounds of the Italians in the background with just over 20 minutes of this game remaining, and Inter have command of it.
Mira o Marquinhos o Steiner, ahora finalment el brasiler entrega la pilota sobre.
Themselves to be very badly affected by the earlier misses, the frustration showing more and more, and there, wild swipe at it by Palestini, and I really do believe with a little bit of composure and self-confidence, Casino Salzburg would have gone up. The two efforts that would have equalized, the two efforts that Hermann Stadler had, and certainly Pfeifenberger would have gone in if they just had that little bit more composure. Just get the impression they've lost a belief in themselves. Played forward by Aigner. I liked his runs early on in the second half. Hardly seen anything of them since. Played down there to the substitute Muzek, and he suddenly drifted into the penalty area for the first time since he's come on. I think I might have mentioned earlier he's been trying to play a thoughtful game from deep in his own half. And a sign of a new urgency maybe creeping through the Casino Salzburg ranks. These other players I was mentioning, Farsinger, Hutter and Jurcevic at the start, who are suspended for this game, will be back for the second leg in 2 weeks' time. And that will greatly bolster this Casino Salzburg side. Forstaller didn't get hold of that at all. Maniconi. And of course, Fontolan and Shalimov, who between them have scored 3 European goals this season. They'll be back in consideration for the second leg. And this is a trophy that Inter are desperate to win, given the great success of their neighbours, Milan. It must be painful to be an Inter supporter in the city at the moment. That's a bit of run, picked up there by Stadler and beautifully swept away. Bergkamp playing almost as if he's been a defender all his life. Ruben Sosa left all on his own. Lovely run by Jonk. Oh, just taken away from him. And if you were watching our coverage of the second semi-final against Cagliari, Jonk came in on a run like that to score a goal, and that was almost a replica of it. Typical Inter move under these circumstances, with even Bergkamp way back in defence, and then the sudden spot forward. And I think you just get the impression that Casino Salzburg putting in the spurt now as they realise that time is against them. Getting substitution here. I think Ruben Sosa about to come off. He's had a great game. I really get the impression. I don't think there's anything wrong with him so much as you get the impression that he might just have tired a little. I mean, he really did put in a tremendous amount of work. That's a free kick, surely. Now I have the ability to capitalize on this. Free kick in a very good position. And it is so important for teams to have somebody on the side who can get beyond a defensive wall. Inter have been playing in such a compact and determined way, and they've only let slip 2 or 3 chances. And with 15 minutes remaining, here the opportunity to put themselves back in contention. Looks to me like Weber at the back of it, can't get it through the wall. Disappointing ending there. Never an easy one to take all the same. What they must not do, of course, Casino Salzburg, is allow Inter to score another goal, or they may give up the very thought of going to Milan in a couple of weeks' time. Although having said that, we look back to Borussia Dortmund and what they did in the second leg in the quarterfinals, where only a very late goal indeed in that game, which was scored by Manaconi, got them through. So you never know. There is always hope. Well, they're still trying. Steiner trying to go away with that. Inter remaining cool. And he's had marvellous runs in this half. Angelo Orlando. And the referee, I actually indicating that he thinks there's a bit of pretense going on here. I don't think so. From that shot, it looks as if he was almost kneecapped. And I do believe that that is probably the first refereeing mistake of the night. And the Italians in the crowd sensing a triumph. About, by my watch, about 12 minutes remaining. Out they come, anxious, looking at the watches as Bergkamp. No, this is the sort of situation he likes in this time. He was driven too wide by Christian Furstaller. Furstaller, the boss of the penalty area there, as he does all week, in charge of an office run by the president of Casino Salzburg, with 500 workers under him. And that rather bossy nature, I think, came out there, shoving that very talented player wide. That's a better ball inside to Muzik. Well, what a fine game this man has had. The initial stage of his substitution was playing deep, but more and more in the second half he's pushed forward like that. Liner. Winkelhofer tried to put it forward. Well, if they don't have Sousa on, they have this man here, Orlando. Suddenly gained a new lease of life in the second half. Pushed forward there by Ferry. And the two Dutchmen were forward there, Jonk along with Bergkamp. And Bergkamp decided to go back up front again after Sousa went off. Touched away for the corner kick. I don't think they're minding these now. Inter have grown in confidence in this half. Battistini doing all the bossing in the penalty area at that time, and Zenga had it covered. Christian Furstaller, that's the man I was talking about. The boss of the penalty area, and not bad coming forward there as well. Getting his eye and his head right over the ball. Just a little too much though. Bergkamp, look at that tremendous spurt Bergkamp has. Wonderful buzz forward there. Grimly determined to get onto that. So it's not just a case of a player who likes to pick the ball up deep with these very elegant, subtle runs of his. This is determination and power and strength. Little sign of a man who's growing physically by virtue of playing in Italian football and against very tight, hard defences. Jonk with it. Jonk. Tremendously exuberant performance by Angelo Orlando in the second half. Coming down the left and now picked up and far too short a pass there by Pfeifenberger. Weber. Cross inevitably coming in and inevitably back out by Bergomi. Touch back by Stadler. A little bit too precise this. Inter with everybody behind the ball excepting Bergkamp. Remember, Sosa's off. So Bergkamp's gone forward again. Bergkamp Forgot to take the ball with him, but also taking his eye off it. I don't think they'll be too worried. There's still one out. Oh, referee waving play on as Pfeifenberger comes away with it. It's a beautiful ball. Touched away by Battistini. Oh, and that ends it all. Poor finish there by Franz Eigner. And Sergio Battistini, 29 years of age, playing in his third UEFA final, showing himself to be a man of impeccable timing, right in the heart of the Italian defense. Battistini, who played in the final for Fiorentina and now twice for Inter. He's lost one, he's won one, losing one against Juventus, of course. Bergkamp. Hooked away, Bergkamp on the chase. And I think free kick, yes. But this is a much stronger Bergkamp you're watching now in these games. Not prepared to give the ball up easily at all. Last time I saw him playing in Holland in a game against Feyenoord, just got the impression he didn't want any physical contact at all. Drifted continually away from the play. Well, I think some of the crowd beginning to drift away. The Austrians I'm talking about. The Italians not all that far away from home. Have come here in goodly numbers, and we've now got just about 5 minutes left. Good run forward by Jonk again. Oh, so near the second. He did it 15 minutes ago, and that was the posting of a warning. And forward he thrust again. Now that's the kind of finish that Bergkamp tries, and the run from a diagonal position like that. Very unfortunate, marvellous run there by Jonk. And Jonk, of course, has scored 5 goals in this tournament by doing precisely that sort of thing. Now, can they salvage something out of this match? Well, they're taking no chances, and Zenga coming for it. Oh, I think yellow card. Now that is Stadler. And I think he's walking backwards in disappointment, because it means he'll miss the second leg. Second yellow card in the tournament. And what a silly thing to do at this stage. Antonio Maniconi goes down. Maniconi personifying the very functional performance of Inter Milan tonight. Yes, that verifies what I was saying there. And what a pity for Casino Salzburg. I think a suspension like that injures them more than it does Inter, any individual losing out for Inter. Stadler, a very useful player. Jonk almost touched it inside to Bergkamp there, who between them now scored 13 goals in the competition. Not a bad Dutch contribution. The Italians are whistling for time up. Touch forward there by Steiner. And bit by bit, you've witnessed Casino Salzburg simply running out of ideas. And I think the youngster, 19-year-old Martin Ammerhauser, who was substituted at halftime, regrets having just missed these early crosses put to him one by Stadler, one by Pfeifenberger, who himself was on the end, or nearly on the end, of balls played into the penalty area. And these early misses in the first 20 minutes will now be regarded by Casino Salzburg as some of the key features of this game, because they still trail by 1-0. Bergkamp. Very good control by Orlando. And if you want attacking fullbacks in modern football, you certainly have one in Orlando. Beautifully brought down there by Marquinhos. That's better play. First time in the game they've really opened it up with that long ball through the middle. Pfeifenberger's finishing, though, dreadful. All off the side of the foot. And I think he allowed the two Inter players bearing down him to simply put him off that. Yonk. Well, it's a fair old accomplishment for Inter Milan, under a great deal of pressure at home, subjected to hostile criticism, and now here they are, the halfway stage of the UEFA Cup final. I think Delano about to come on now. And off comes Bergkamp for a well-deserved rest. They have an important game, of course, this weekend. There is a minimal chance of them being relegated if Milan, as I've said, lost to Reggiana and Inter lost to Atlanta, but I just can't see that happening. And this result will exhilarate them, I'm quite sure. Delano getting his first touch of it. There he is again. Good functional performance. And Inter Milan go forward in 2 weeks' time with that very valuable lead from that goal scored by Nicola Berti. 36 minutes, but oh dear, a great deal of credit goes to the man who was eventually substituted, Ruben Sosa, the 28-year-old internationalist who seized the opportunity of seeing a gap in the defense, of taking what looked to be an innocuous free kick, getting right through the defense, and Berti, even though he was pressurized, getting it beyond the goalkeeper. Functional, not pretty to watch in most instances, but again, I suppose you might describe it as a modern performance built on good solid defense, hard work in midfield, and those little bursts up front, either by Bergkamp or Sosa, or well backed up by Wim Jonk, who came so close to adding to the 5 goals he's already scored in the tournament. A brave performance by Casino Salzburg. And as we said at the start, no Austrian side has been in the final or won the final of this tournament. So they're finding it very hard. There's no doubt about that. Acknowledging their supporters for the wonderful support they've given them. And I hope they go forward with the same attitude for the second leg and take a lesson from Borussia Dortmund, who went there to Milan trailing by 3 goals to 1, scored a couple of goals, were on the verge of qualifying, and only in a breakaway did Antonio Mancini save the day for Inter. Let them heed that, and in 2 weeks' time in Eurosport, I'm sure we'll see a marvellous game.